What's up, everybody? It's the Inhuman one here, and today I'm going to explain exactly what happened and what lies below. Now, if you've seen the movie and have no clue what the hell happened, allow me to indulge you. If you really want to find out what lies below, then stay tuned. Let's jump right into this one. Consider this my spoiler warning. For those of you who have not seen the movie, let me give you a quick summary of what happens. Libby, our protagonist, returns home from summer camp and discovers that her mother, Michelle, has a new boyfriend, John. After several strange encounters, including a coughing fit at dinner, an awkward period that Libby will never forget, strange blinks and winks, and John sleepwalking towards an orange light beneath the lake, Libby discovers that John is not the perfect stepdad, but rather a creature that is intent on impregnating her mother and abducting human specimens for reasons unknown. We are left with a scene where John implants a blue object inside of Libby's mouth and traps her in a giant glass tank full of water, where she seemingly drowns and enters a stasis surrounded by others in a similar situation. So now that we've got the synopsis out of the way, let's pick this movie apart and discover what precisely John is, and what his agenda may be. First and foremost, we know that John is some sort of aquatic creature with a strong aversion to all forms of salt or sodium. Based on Libby's discovery of the craft that was hidden underneath the lake, and the ending scene where Libby is placed inside of a holding tank, it is clear that these are signs of otherworldly technology that is not human in nature. Not to mention the scenes where John's limbs are covered in green scales tipped with razor-sharp claws. Although we can't pinpoint the exact species that John is, we know that there are some incredible similarities between this race and that of the Deep Ones from Lovecraft's universe, namely from the novella The Shadow over Innsmouth from 1931. More on this later. During the dinner scene, John very clearly states his agenda, albeit under the guise of an aquatic geneticist. John goes on to state that his work is dedicated to the survival of a certain species. This species is none other than his own. Over the course of the film, we learn that his species is hypersensitive to saltwater and is looking for ways to create a hybrid race that can survive in an increasingly saline environment. This mirrors the situation in Shadows over Innsmouth. The Deep Ones, an intelligent race of humanoid aquatic creatures, seek to mate with the humans in the small fishing community in an attempt to assimilate and further the reach, power, and overall longevity and survival of their species. In the novella, this interbreeding was a means to infiltrate human society. In the film, it seems like John's species is conducting these experiments for the sake of survival in an ever-adapting environment. Some interesting differences to note is that the Deep Ones from Lovecraftian fiction were not an extraterrestrial species. In fact, they were an immortal, marine-based life form that could survive not only in the most profound depths of the sea, but the surface as well. John's race of creatures is clearly from another planet, as supported by the partial image of some sort of submerged, high-tech craft under the lake. Additionally, the extraterrestrials seem to require their potential mates to meet a number of specific criteria in order to survive as viable mates, including being red-headed and being aged approximately 35 years or younger. Failure to adhere to these criteria results in failed attempts at creating hybrid spawn, as seen in the final act, where Michelle's offspring is implanted with a blue orb, possibly to aid in survival or to allow the spawn to enter stasis. Once Libby was captured, we see that John was not alone in his mission. In fact, there were several other identical creatures that shared the same exact physical appearance. Aside from a few cosmetic and wardrobe changes, of course, they were also harvesting fertile females that would further their mission to create a species that was resistant to a saltwater environment. In the end, John's species was successful in obtaining a number of compatible, fertile specimens that were suited for carrying the hybrid offspring. Even Libby was forced to consume a blue orb that presumably assisted in long-term preservation while submerged in the holding tanks, and was seemingly converted to mother the new, more adaptable species of creatures. Now, what follows is speculation. However, I believe this newer generation of creatures would in all likelihood go on to assimilate into society and continue to interbreed with compatible mates, continuing the endless cycle of proliferation, until they came to hold positions of power all throughout the world. It would seem in due time their mission would be a success. Perhaps this is why we are all left with a scene of an incredibly unnerving smile from Libby as she comes to the acceptance of her current circumstances. If you'd like to see a video that points out all the clues and secrets you missed in the movie, be sure to comment Deep Ones in the comment section below. And that's all for this video. Until next time, it's the Inhuman One signing out. Welcome to my universe.